This is the 22nd Sunday after Pentecost, and our lessons this morning talk about servanthood and what it means to serve. In the passage that we have this morning from Isaiah, our servant has been crushed, afflicted, wounded, but it was for our transgressions. He was despised and dismissed, a nobody. But at the same time, this image of a suffering servant also serves as a powerful image of salvation, redemption, healing. In verse 4, it said that we are made whole and healed through the servant's suffering. In verse 10, it states that he shall see the light out of his anguish and be satisfied. For the writings of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 53, verses 4 through 12. Surely he took up our pain and bore our suffering. Yet we considered him punished by God, stricken by him and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was on him, and by his wounds we are healed. We all like sheep have gone astray, each of us having turned to our own way. And the Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed and afflicted, yet he did not open his mouth. He was led like a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before its shearers is silent, so he did not open his mouth. By oppression and judgment he was taken away. Yet who of his generation protested? For he was cut off from the land of the living. For the transgression of my people he was punished. He was assigned a grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death, though he had done no violence, nor was any deceit in his mouth. Yet it was the Lord's will to crush him and cause him to suffer. And through the Lord makes his life an offering for sin. He will see his offspring and prolong his days, and the will of the Lord will prosper in his hand. After he has suffered, he will see the light of life and be satisfied. By his knowledge, my righteous servant will justify many, and he will bear their iniquities. Therefore I will give him a portion among the great, and he will divide the spoils with the strong, because he poured out his life unto death, and was numbered with the transgressors. For he bore the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors. Here ends our Old Testament lesson. Please turn to page 258 in the front of the hymnals. We're going to read a portion of Psalm 91, verses 9 through 16. And again, we have a message that God, who is exalted and on high, has become our servant and cares for us. I'll read the odd number verses. You read the even. Because you have made the Lord your refuge, and the Most High your habitation,
there shall no evil happen to you,
neither shall any plague come near your dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways.
They shall bear you in their hands,
lest you dash your foot against a stone. You shall tread upon the lion and adder. You shall trample the young lion and the serpent under your feet.
Because he is bound to me in love, therefore will I deliver him. I will protect him because he knows my name.
He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I am with him in trouble. I will rescue him and bring him to honor. With long life
will I satisfy him and show him my salvation.
The book of Hebrews talks a lot about priesthood. And one of the key elements in this book of the Bible is the notion that the priest is also the sacrifice. And so Jesus, who is named as our great high priest, in the order of an Old Testament hero named Melchizedek, he offers himself as the sacrifice. Again, that image of a serving God. From the book of Hebrews, chapter 5, the first 10 verses. Every high priest chosen from among mortals is put in charge of things pertaining to God on their behalf, to offer gifts and sacrifices for sins. He is able to deal gently with the ignorant and wayward, since he himself is subject to weakness. And because of this, he must offer sacrifice for his own sins, as well as for those of the people. And one does not presume to take this honor, but takes it only when called by God, just as Aaron was. So also Christ did not glorify himself in becoming a high priest, but was appointed by the one who said to him, "You are my son. Today I have begotten you." As he says also in another place, "You are a priest forever, according to the order of Melchizedek." In the days of his flesh, Jesus offered up prayers and supplications with loud cries and tears to the one who was able to save him from death. Yet he was heard because of his reverent submission. Although he was a son, he learned obedience through what he suffered. And having been made perfect, he became the source of eternal salvation for all who obey him, having been designated by God a high priest, according to the order of Melchizedek. Here ends our second reading. I love this gospel lesson. Of all the doofy things that the disciples do, this is probably their most chucklehead moment. And we have a story about James and John who come to Jesus with one of the most absurd requests anyone could make of God. I want you to give us whatever I want. Only to have themselves get put down in their place by Jesus, who points out to them that he himself did not come to be served, but to serve. This is the Gospel according to Mark, the 10th chapter, beginning at the 35th verse. Glory to you, O Lord. James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came forward to him and said to him, "Teacher, we want you to do for us whatever we ask of you." He said to them, "What is it you want me to do for you?" And they said to him, "Grant us to sit, one at your right hand and one at your left in your glory." But Jesus said to them, "You do not know what you're asking. Are you able to drink the cup that I drink, or be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with?" They replied, "Yep, we are able." Then Jesus said to them, "The cup that I drink, you will drink. And with the baptism with which I am baptized, you will be baptized. But to sit at my right hand or my left is not mine to grant, but it is for those for whom it has been prepared." When the 10 heard this, they began to be angry with James and John. So Jesus called them and said to them, "You know that among the Gentiles, those whom they recognize as their rulers lord it over them, and their great ones are tyrants over them. But it is not so among you. But whoever wishes to become great among you must be your servant. And whoever wishes to be first among you must be slave of all. For the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life a ransom for many." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. And on that note, let's sing a song about service.